Afternoon, folks. Welcome to Midnight Prepatch. We got 1 week to go before Season 1 starts. I got my house up to level 7, so I figured I'd show a little bit of my layout updates. I am located at Founders Point, Lot 7. So in the back I have a waterfall, and to the right we have a construction yard, and the house is built kind of nice on the rock here. So going into the property, I haven't done too much updates to the exterior, most of the updates to the interior, but I did do some finite updates. So I moved all of the leisure stuff to the left side of the property, and all of the construction stuff is back on the right side of the property. There's a little bit of a mix-up because I didn't plan the layout 100%. When I was collecting all the parts and thinking about it a little more, I figured this would be a better layout overall. So you can see I moved the orchard and the gazebo to the left side, and I moved the fountain to the right side. It all has function purpose. So on the right side here, you can still see that I have access to the construction yard here, and we got a nice little ramp for whatever construction workers and or equipment needs to roll down here. We still have the food cart to the left side, commissary up against the house, architect's seat with the surveyor's scope right in front of the construction yard. And now I put in a little first aid tent for heat exhaustion and a fountain for easy access. We have I actually got the repair module from the gnome endeavor. I still kept the smokestack in there. I think the smokestack was still pretty tactful for that. We still have the fishing shack bits here. I didn't want to put in a full-fledged shack. Just up against the house is more than enough for like getting the fishing poles or cleaning up the fish to bring inside, etc., etc. I still have my favorite seat facing the waterfall. Still zoom in, looks really nice. And then we got the gazebo over here for the lunch yard. We have the fountain. This is the Kyrian fountain, and I put it directly underneath an apple orchard so apples can fall in, get washed and cleansed in Kyrian water, which I thought was pretty cool because that would be like, Anyway, and then of course we got the little bar here, but the bar obviously only serves tea. Tea, actually, if you think about it, is really good for like small source of caffeine, antioxidants, etc. So it's work friendly versus having like a wine bar, etc. I was thinking about having an outdoor bar, but now that I have the outdoor bar inside the house, there's no point in having it outside. So this is more like site appropriate outdoors still. Then of course got my water well over here, and then the memorial garden. So the memorial garden I haven't really touched much since either. Alright, and going inside, I guess I will show some layout updates first using the floor plan model, and then I'll do the walkthrough after. There's some pretty considerable changes and then some not so considerable changes. So the main changes to the floor plan as it pre-existed was the library are removed because I moved everything into the mage tower, which I'll show in a minute. I also moved the Fumoire over so I can have a full open space just for if we have a standing crowd for the instruments or the band that might be playing. I'm going to be putting in a harp and the lute, or the lyra, sorry. I'm going to put the harp and the lyra in there eventually. I just made the doghouse a little larger. And then I made a secret room that leads into an area that is the, you got your hunters, Fumoire, and then you got the prey room. So there's like a smithy area, last minute cooking area, and then just all the prey rewards that I've gotten so far from hard mode. And then some Amani and Zandalari weapons next to each other. I just thought it was tasteful. And then we have the teleporter. So, going up into the second floor, the first floor, I guess I have some other minor updates, not so much. I did do some minor tasteful updates to the backyard. I put the light rotunda on top of the fountain, so now it's like an enclosure, just like the night side where I did the whole fountain inside of the tent. So, going up to the second floor, I have now moved the rooms perpendicular to the main hallway. So now the bedrooms are out of the way and people can still get access to the rest of the stuff over here. And then over here, I have a coffee bar and a hot tub room. And then we have the stairwell leading up to the mage tower. So I'll show some pretty interesting stuff I did with the mage tower then. In the future, my next major updates when I get up to level 8 will be to expand the bedrooms and the kitchen dining room rooms into medium square rooms, so that'll open up some more floor space. I don't plan on adding too many extra fixtures, but just to make it a little more breathable, because it does feel it's starting to get a little too cluttered with all the objects that I've been putting into it. And then after that, I am not sure what I'm going to do next. I was thinking about making like portal rooms coming out of the mage tower. So essentially I'll be taking these outdoor day and or night rooms and then connecting them to the mage tower and making it look like they're portals that you walk through to enter another zone, kind of speak. So my mage tower will have some cool function to it. Outside of that, you'll see some interesting adaptations that I've done to the building, just minor changes. I added a window to the security room, so that way it kind of falls in line with what's happening outdoors, where I have the window on the top left. And then with the mage tower, the windows inside the mage tower you'll see when we get up to there, they coincide with the windows on the exterior of the building. So I'm trying to make the building layout match as much as I can to the exterior building layout, which is going to get upgraded at level 8 anyway, I know. But I'm going to try and make my level 8 house look as much as I can as it does to the interior rather than vice versa. So let's go back to just walking through the building. So I think I'm just going to do like a right to left thing, because going to the left goes up the stairs and then goes to the mage tower and such. So we'll just start here. And yeah, I got a little bit of a twinkly thing going on right now. That's just because I decided to put on some illusion from my enchanter before I decided to do this, and it hasn't worn off yet, but beside the point. So hare and deer food I added to the table. I updated the glasses so that they're not the Venthyr glasses anymore. I moved the Cinder Eye vial to the kitchen so it can more look like kitchen supplies like balsamic vinegar or something along those lines, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm going to add the lyra and the harp once my characters get up to a high enough level to make them, which is very close, probably in the next couple weeks. And then, of course, my doghouse slash crowd room. And then the Fumoire, I did a little bit of updates. So I also found that you can get these unfinished paintings, and I just used that painting from Founder's Point, and I moved the other picture into it pixel for pixel to get it perfectly aligned. You can see that. And then I also scaled it up so it's a little bit behind the frame, but it also takes out all the blotchy edges from the unfinished painting. I did it a couple of times, so there's another one here. I got another one in the mage tower too. Now, as for my prey room, I figured, my hunter room, the hunter room has the prey room. So the first thing it has is the hex thing right at the door. Just in case, you should not be here sort of thing. And then I have the prey icons. I still have quite a bit of points left over. You can see I'm only at 3,004, so I still have 176 points to go. I do want to do some more finishing to this and maybe some carpeting in here. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do with it yet, but that's where I'm at so far. We go back into the rooms over here. The bathroom is basically the same. Everything around here is basically the same other than the glasses and the wine bottle. We go into the lounge or the dining room and kitchen. I did some minor updates to the kitchen. I got the hanging herbs on the wall. I actually got both the cooking pots from, I think one of them, the Tauren one and the Draenor one, and then I just aligned them to these boxes, and then I put the grills. I think these are just the Razorwind cooking grills. I just kind of align them in such a way that it looks like they're cooking on them. So a cook can actually click on these and go into their cooking stuff. Of course, I put in a pizza peel so that I can use a pizza peel with the oven. Kind of has like a Turkish appeal to it. I was thinking about getting one of those long poured ones for this too. Replace the table from the Drakthir table to a lightwood table. I think it just has better dimensions for this room. Put in a couple windows just to get some natural light going on. Oh, the pig. So I got this pig from the Zolaman, I believe it was either the Glyph Hunters or the High Peaks, one of the two. So I put the pig in there. I thought that was pretty tasteful. Going outside. So you can see now I have some chairs for the bartenders between servings so they don't just have to stand the whole friggin' time. I added Astrolora's hookah to the table rather than using the ethereal hookah, which is a little more theme appropriate. You remember the mead barrels I put these custom taps into, so I was able to get enough points to add an extra beer mug. And then, so you can see with the fountain, I put the rotunda over top. You can still sit in here and everything. So get out your beach clothes because you can still go swimming and it's still deep enough for a wading pool. And then of course we have, I had to shimmy this over a bit. So I figured the proportions between night and day were a little bit off. So when I inserted this Blood Elf area, I moved the Night Elf private seating to the side over here so I could still have a comfortable isolated seating area compared to the open group wine tasting area. And then of course my small batch, I moved it a little bit. I ran out of a little bit of room, but on the same token, now it's like all your spices and fine ingredients are in here. I put in the measuring scale. I actually have 3 different measuring scales in the house now. And then of course all of my small batches and then the primary batch for fermenting. Inside here, I haven't really done any updates except for adding a little bit of extra flowers around the edges, just to give it a little more contrasting color and such and fill it out a little bit. So you can see all the purple and red flowers in there, some of the low flowers, some of the high flowers. All right, going up to the second floor. So in my sparring training room, I thought the Zolaman training dummy was really cool. I really hope they activate these training dummies so we can actually practice rotations on them and stuff. I know I was originally planning on making this a spar room because you can I think you can walk through the duelist flag, but you can't. This guy's solid now. So this being a dueling room, I would have to take that out ahead of time, which, I mean, it still looks cool. I like it there. I mean, if I host a party and people want to spar in here, then I can take out the dummy for them. But yeah, dummy's staying for now. Haven't really done any changes to my uncrowned room. I did a little bit of layout fixes because it just felt weird that the Pandaria stuff was on the floor. So if you rotate the table 180, you can see that there's still stuff on the table here, but at least it doesn't conflict or clash with any of the stuff that I've propped up on top of it. Looks a little more fleshed out now. It's easier to sit at. You can see I put the scale on here too. Okay, so going up to the second floor. You remember the Tyler's seat. So this is the guy who vets entrance into the VIP area, that being the people who live here, obviously, because you don't want people going where they're not supposed to be, and also just the private room going up into the cafe, hot tub, and mage tower. I did do a slight update to the security room, so we'll go up to the security room quick. I added this window to coincide with the exterior, and note the coloring of it. Even though this is my Draenei room, there's no real Draenei windows yet, but the color of the window kind of coincides with what's outside, so that looked good to me. I put in a round table here instead of having the long table too. I figured the round table was a little more convenient to walk around. And then going into the bedroom here, You can see the layout that I have here. I did modify this table a little bit. I used to have a long table in here, but then I thought, you know what? If I put in the lamppost here, I can have a full-size lamppost. I gave the hookah, put the hookah in this room too, because it's just kind of color coordinated. And yeah, so the Draenei room, the Draenei loft is looking pretty snazzy. Of course, I got that's a Fumoire fireplace, but I extended the chimney using some ethereal tube or piping. Okay, so going back down to the main floor here. So the bedrooms, I haven't really done too many updates. My Blood Elf has been getting a lot of stuff because of all the Silvermoon quests. So you can see there's going to be quite a bit of changes in here. I got one of the illicit tables from Murder Row and then put the quill and paper on there. So he's going to be, you know, I mean, if anyone in any class is going to be a bard, it's either going to be the hunter, the mage, or the rogue, right? So I figured Hunter is probably the closest to it. So Hunter is going to be my bard. I switched out the Drakthir chest with the Silvermoon chest, put in the easel. So this guy's just like my artist. I still have him at level 80 though. I've been using him purely for alchemy and jewel crafting so far, but eventually I'll level him too. I'm leveling my Demon Hunter next because he's my enchanter. So going through all the quest lines, and you can see not much has happened to my mage room or my paladin room or my demon hunter room. They're basically all the same because there hasn't been much updates for them. But yeah, so my demon hunter is going to be my enchanter this expansion, so he's next on the list because he has to get a whole lot of BOPs to disenchant, otherwise I'm going to just shell out gold on the auction house. I don't really want to do that. So I have kind of a theme thing going on for this too. So you have the coffee bar here with some Draenei seats and just sitting on the floor. We can open up the hot tub room. So inside the hot tub room, you'll see some, this is not a traditional hot tub room. This is closer to a sauna than a hot tub, but it's more like a Roman hot tub where you sit on the side, you have your feet in the water and the whole bit, but then you have a primary water, I don't know what you would call that. There's a word for it. But anyways, you got the buckets here, so you can always, if you wanted to have a bath in here, just, you know, you can dump the water on you, or you can even use just the watering cans, and yeah. And then some teacups and plenty of sitting spaces, so you can either sit on the pillows if you're just here for the hot air or the steam, or you can sit on the pillows around the ring. And from there, yeah, so just another social room, sauna / hot tub dealio going on. Alright, so continuing on, so I have a theme with the coffee shop, so obviously coffee shop before you go up to the Mage Tower. Mage Tower is the big think room. You can see I got that painting here. I think this is the High Peaks from Silvermoon. This is just a collection of books to share with the public sort of thing. And then as you enter here, you have the stairwell. So yet again, another painting, the unfinished paintings that I reframed. But on the left here, you can see I have the other this is the Magister's bookcase. So the idea with this bookcase is over here is just like public, grab a book while you're sitting and having your coffee, versus you're going up to the Mage Tower, you either have assigned reading for what we're studying, or if you needed one of the books on your way up, so to speak. But before we go up, I have this little cubby room. So in my cubby room, I actually have King of the Grummies. You can see he's our coffee supply guy, and he has just like paint and such going on here. He's got a little throne for himself, his own treasure chest and windows. Yeah, so King of the Grummies closet. Okay, so the stairwell, this took me forever to build. It took me almost an hour and a half. So you can see each one of these is 15 degrees turned, and then I have them radiating using the tangent of the pillar all the way up. Each one of these has been aligned perfectly at tangent, so you can see to get this cadence to work, each one of these stairs is a 160% scaled beam. And then, of course, the walls have been interconnected in such a way that it just kind of, you'll see. The only part that I don't like about it right now is that when one floor ends and the other floor begins, there's a mandatory space in between. I'm guessing they just didn't want to have clipping or something along those lines between the two floors. They made this extra spacer. I can put solids in there. I just haven't figured I need something small enough yet long enough that it fills that space without taking too many points. So I was thinking like a carpet or something. I might do that at some point. I just haven't done it yet. But as we go up the stairs, and now we're in my new mage tower. So the mage tower ceiling, if you look in the floor plan here again, you'll see that it actually sits shy of the ceiling, the natural ceiling that's supposed to be the box ceiling, but I wanted to give it a proper mage tower feel. So of course the mage tower being rounder, right? So doing this, I ended up putting in 12 panels, so that way every second panel I can put in a window, and these windows actually coincide with the windows outdoors. So they're all facing the exact same direction as they are outdoors. And then of course I have my seating area. This is the ratifying area where you'd have your two different readers reading two different source books with then a codex in between. You have the codex seat here. People can look over your shoulders and stuff while you're discussing the contents of the books. Of course, usually for boss kills, that's why I put the Onyxia head up there. We have the mage side and we have the light side. And then, of course, I just have some extra books here. So I got the Draenei books. That's the Rogue's artifact, or Rogue's Knowledge book, I believe that is. And then the Demon Hunter Knowledge book. But yeah, so the ceiling here, the way I've done this, so first off with the 12 pillars, I had a minor separation between the edges and every middle corner. So in the middle corners I added another pillar just to seal it up properly. So there is a minor rotation that I had to do in the curtains in order to make it so that they're not clipping weird. So you can see up here how it's pinned to the pillar. But when you look at the ceiling, so this ceiling is actually composed of many carpets. And the carpets I have rotated at a 30-degree incline, and I paired it in such a way that it creates these little triangles here. And then yet again I have an imperfection wherever the pillars are, so I took that to my advantage and I used pillars to make it look like it's actually like tent posts. And then the ceiling, I used another rug to seal it all up, and then an elven table, and then inside the elven table I actually used a lamp so that it looks like it's supporting the cable or the chain that's supporting the hanging lamp. But this lamp, all of this ambiance that it's adding around that is actually coming from this elven lamp. Like if I move that out, you see how kind of gray dull it is, but the moment you put that in, it really brightens it up. So I was really happy with how that turned out. So this is my big addition to the house here. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. Oh yeah, and of course the Wayne device. So the Wayne device, and then that's a teaching stone, and the teaching stone is actively accessing all the different books around from the room. So that's kind of like, you know, like a computer silo with all the old school discs in them and the whole bit with the robotic arms sort of thing, except it's magical in nature. I thought that was a tasteful touch to it. And just like every other mage tower in the game, I had to put a safety fence around the stairwell. So that's a Calderai stairwell, or Calderai fencing that I put around there. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed my layout, and I will continue to post more updates, especially when I get to the level 8 update. Oh yeah, this one here. So I figured Void is kind of like antimatter, so when they're studying stuff, if something needs to be like immediately destroyed or whatever, then I have this little, you know, brace yourselves, I gotta put a barricade around it, and then you got your sitting spot over here, and then they're studying whatever they need to study, because like right now we're combating the void, right? So you have a representative that's delving into the void storm, collecting items. So I got the little backpack there. They bring it back, they do their studies on it, and if it needs to be destroyed, then they can just dump it into the energy forge. It says you can click on the energy forge, but I don't see it really doing anything. I wonder if there's certain compatibilities between objects, because you can click on the coffee maker too. The coffee maker doesn't do anything. The espresso machine, you can click on the grinder does stuff. That's kind of cool. But there's like the coffee maker, you click on it, it doesn't do squat. It just... yeah. Anywho, so yeah. I was just thinking maybe there was some sort of relation between that object and potentially other objects where they interact with each other. But who knows? Anywho, hope you enjoyed it, and I will post further updates in the future. Thanks for watching.